part of the value of NCAB is that you find a way to tell your stories that is safe for you, that is moving for people who hear your stories, and that hopefully moves them to action. That's kind of that's part of the dream for NCAB. It's been wonderful when we've had congressional briefings, say in Washington, to see the impact that people telling their individual stories has. There's nothing that we as professional advocates can do that matches the power of the individual stories that you bring. Your own story reminds me of some parts of my own history that I didn't talk about earlier. I had a brother who was mentally ill, never really got treatment. I had a sister who married a very rich alcoholic who lost everything, and she ended up sleeping in the van a number of nights. I think one of the things I have learned in the course of all of this is how vulnerable we all are, but how resilient most people really are. It's just tremendously exciting to see people who've struggled with the sorts of things that you just told me about and come out so much stronger and so kind and loving, and embrace other people with all of that. That's what my life's, I hope, been about, is trying to make some of that, help some of that happen.
I think you've done a wonderful job.
Maybe. It's, again, whatever I've done has been a result of learning from other people and calling other people together. And it sticks. Hopefully it sticks.
Where would you like to see all of this go? Do you think it's as big as it can be?
No, I don't. We're currently interviewing for my successor, and the question of where it goes is one that's up in the air a little bit. I think there's plenty of room for growth. We've got maybe half of the Healthcare for the Homeless federal projects involved in the council. Part of the challenge at this point is, as we continue to grow, well, one, it's a reflection of the need continuing to grow. After 3 decades of this work, I'm disappointed that we're still at it, that we haven't been able yet to affect the big picture things that are driving so much homelessness in this country. The real danger at this juncture for us, I think, is growing too big, too fast, losing the sense of intimacy that the council has embodied and that has meant so much to so many people. They're going to be, at this meeting, I think 16 out of the 80 or so who will be here will be people who are brand new to the council. And if we can extend to them what Jenny Metzler's called the big warm embrace of the council, and incorporate them into the fold, that'll be 16 more people, but there are hundreds and thousands of people out there who are engaged in one part of this work or another, and they're all really good people. How can we, the challenge is maintaining the intimacy and the real sense of trust that we've built among each other in this organization as it grows. You can get too big. Mm-hmm. So, we need to think about things like what NCAB's thinking about with the regional structure that you have. Hopefully that will become something that provides, support sort of closer to home and at a scale that's a little more human than these things can become. We had 1,000 people at our national conference this year. And it felt a little different from when we had 600. And that's something we need to watch for. I hope that the council can become a much stronger voice for advocacy around healthcare and social determinants of health. There are lots of other people working on that stuff, but we have such a strong and legitimate base to talk from. That includes the voice of NCAB. It includes the voice of physicians, particularly, and nurses, particularly, who have a lot of respect at seats of power, and continuing to combine all of those and really figuring out what are the points at which we can make a difference in terms of federal policy and state policy and decision making about how what little money there is for this work is spent. If we can bring all those people together and do that, we can still have a really powerful impact. Part of the reason I'm leaving this job is that it is time for somebody to take our organization to the next level. I've been, I'll admit it, pretty good at pulling people together and sort of setting an ethos for the organization. Now what do we do with that? How do we push our movement forward and accomplish something more in the world? And I think we've got some great candidates to help us do that.
If there is one thing to encourage, what would be your words of encouragement?
Love one another. That's all. Love one another. That's easy. It's so easy and so wonderful. Yeah, that's 3 words. You ask for one.
Love one another.
So if it's just one, it's love.
You're amazing.
That's where it's at.
You're amazing. Thank you so much for everything that you've done.
You're so
and for giving your time to help others. You're
Thanks.
amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher.